Well, hey everybody, welcome back. This is Sarah Paz, CMO of Embed, and we are just continuing on with this, streak of awesomeness that is this series for women at Embed that's going to be running during the month of March of 2026, which is International Women's Day, of course, and Women's History Month. And I am sitting here with none other than the trailblazing, iconic, amazing, extraordinary, brilliant Holly Hampton, who is the queen bee at Baytech, where you've been for about 26 years, correct?
25. Yeah,
Okay.
25.
Wow. So, my dear, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Of course, I'm happy to help and love supporting all of the initiatives that you guys do to support women in our industry. It's awesome.
Thank you, my dear. I appreciate that. And speaking of appreciation, because we're part of the Mutual Admiration Society. And my dear, I have a tremendous amount of respect for the work that you do on the AMA board. I know you were on that board for a long time, and you are the head of the AAMCF board as well, which
Yeah,
is the charity arm of AMA. And it's unbelievable. I mean, you go from like
good work.
fundraise to fundraise to fundraise, and you can tell
Yeah,
it is a labor of love. So
yeah.
I thank you for everything that you do and how you do it. Okay.
Mhm.
And also I want to say that, you never know who's going to be watching this. So thank you for giving us the gift of your example, because you never know who's going to watch this and take something that you say and think, you know what? I want to be like her. I'm going to have what she's having. And I want to, be inspired by something that you say, your own experiences and whatnot. And
Sure.
so just know that all of this is a gift. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And I appreciate you joining our charitable foundation board and all of the energy. I mean, the amazing energy that you bring and the efforts. And you are a rock star. So,
Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So let's start with our power questions, shall we? All right. What is one great lesson? And we're talking about 25 years of experience. One great lesson that you've learned in the FEC business or working with, family owned and operated FEC businesses.
I go back to my time as the first female president of the AAMA, and I did a lot of reflecting, and it was like, wow, I get to lead this industry, trade industry, right? And what does that mean? And I was like, I just reflected as like, we provide joy to the world, and I know that can sound cheesy, but I think we can forget about that. And I think it's really important to remember that our products and services they create smiles and high fives and sweet moments that are cherished, whether it's a birthday party or a first date at, a local brew pub. I mean, they create these really special moments of joy. And I think we can take that for granted, especially being in the industry 25 years. I think it's easy to take for granted.
Right. And I think it's such an astute observation, by the way. Okay. Because I think it's easy for us to say we're in the business of fun and we take fun seriously, which we do. Okay. But I think what sometimes we miss sight of is the psychological impact of the experiences that we offer. And if you just stop for a moment and consider that an individual is equal to the sum of their experiences,
Right.
life experiences, okay? And that the psychological side of joy and having a family day, right? Or the first
Right.
date or what have you, okay?
Yeah.
That you string all of those together and they become the story of their
Yeah.
life,
Yeah. I have
right?
goosebumps.
So yeah, it's incredibly meaningful, what we do. So yes.
Yeah.
All right. That is a great observation. Okay. What would you consider the key to your success?
I think it's the golden rule. I think it's treat others as you want to be treated. Life is short, it's precious, we're all valuable. And again, I think sometimes we can lose sight of that in business.
I think you might be right there. No question about it. And wow, if you think of that, right, and you think of the golden rule and you think of karma, right? Because when you go out into the world, if you're smiling at the world smiles
Yeah.
back. It's as simple as that. And especially when you think of the reticular activating system, that is that part of your brain that, it finds what it's seeking, right? And so if you're seeking joy and happiness and kindness and
Right.
generosity, you will find it. But that also means that you're exuding it, and hopefully
Yeah.
karma will help you get it
Yeah.
back. And I think that's just,
Yeah.
that
There's
is,
an
and
incredible
that is
book.
you.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
tell
an
me.
incredible book called The Secret, and it's about that, right? It's amazing. So,
Absolutely. So, along those lines, let me ask you this. So, do you believe in manifesting and the power of manifesting?
yes, yes. As a matter of fact, when my team will put something negative out in a meeting, I'm like, ah, don't put that energy out.
You
Wind it
know,
back.
I can I tell you? Okay, so I'm 100% with you on this. Okay, not only in the power of manifestation and visualization, right, and then working hard,
Mhm.
to seek
Yeah.
and get a goal, etc. But I just recently, in the last year, learned about the power of counter manifestation, which is putting out into the universe what you don't want, which the universe doesn't know, and then basically throw boomerangs it back at you
Right.
because you thought of it.
Right.
I, I am I am with you. I'm of the same ilk.
Yeah.
100%. Wow, this is so cool. This is taking us down a really cool path. Okay, tell me on a lighter note, okay? Favorite quotes.
So I have it hanging up in my bathroom, so I get to look at it every single day. And it's
Mhm.
Maya Angelou. And it's people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And it's it's so real, right? I mean, it just so I work really hard at that.
And you're so good at it. I can't. No, it's true. The first time I met you, I remember you said I'm soft spoken. Okay, and this was 2 years ago at an annual meeting. You said I'm soft spoken. There wasn't a microphone in the room, and I remember thinking, wow, she has this real gentle, intellect, right?
Mhm.
Because you weren't pushy about things. You were just and or strong arming or any of that. Okay, and what's fascinating is then in a corner in a one-on-one, I remember we had a moment where we were chatting about something, and I just remember walking away and thinking, wow, what a glorious human that she can lead, this board and the committee members, right, that are constantly fundraising and then interfacing with the organizations that benefit, right, from the fundraise, and the families as well. And then at the same time be the head of a business and still have the capacity to think about how she's making others feel that, hey, are not related at all to their business or anything like that. And
Yeah.
then just spend a moment with them in a corner. And so I thank you for that. I'm not surprised that is your favorite quote. That is an incredible,
Thank you.
that's beautiful. Can I assume that that's also a life mantra?
It is. It is. I think I have well, I have it taped right here. It's so old it's faded, but it's be loving, be present. And I think, you know, I know I'm at my best when I'm present with others. And sometimes that's really hard to do in the hustle and bustle and everything we've got going on and our schedules. And so I have had that taped up on my monitor for probably over a decade of just like be present and remember like our time is precious and people deserve it. And it's really easy to be transactional. And sometimes we do. Sometimes we need to be transactional, but I desire myself and our leadership team to be transformational with each other, with our people, with our customers, our suppliers, and I think it makes a world of difference. So
It does. And you're doing an incredible job of it. If that's your intention, then you are succeeding admirably, because we sit on committee calls together, and there's no question that you're present, and you're 100% correct about the fact that um, as leaders, we're constantly multitasking.
yeah,
Right, we're constantly multitasking. We're constantly, juggling multiple things at the same time. And it would be easy just to be like, tick, tick. I'm just, getting through some
right,
of these things versus the, hey, am I really present? And am I being loving? Right.
right.
In doing this series, okay, I want to sidebar with you. In doing this series, I have learned so much from so many incredible women. I'm telling you, I walk away from
It's
each of these
awesome.
just thinking, wow, I've just learned so much. And imagine when we put this out into the ethos, it's just,
It's
into the,
awesome.
yeah, it's going to be gorgeous. So anyway, thank you for that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Observations. Now, you've been in the industry a long time. What are some of your observations, especially when it comes to gender parity, about our industry? Have you
Yeah.
seen anything? Like, what do
Oh,
you?
it's changed so much from when I first joined. So much. I mean, I remember the first few trade shows, and it was like a men's only club, and there were just a couple of us, and it was lonely. And as I continued to get involved in the association about 10 years into my career, I was the only female, and look at us now, right? It's
Right.
amazing, and there's so many more women in the industry, women leaders in the industry. We're celebrating that, and not just women. The men alongside
That's
us
right.
are
Of
celebrating it
course.
too, and um, it's just really rad.
It is rad. That spirit of inclusion is really it's beautiful, and it seems to be happening um, organically, which also is quite, it
Yeah.
really warms the heart and lifts the spirit. And so I feel the same. And I joined in 2019, and I've seen just a beautiful ascension of many females into not only key leadership roles, but individuals who have been in the industry almost 40
Hmm.
years who finally said, I'm in a leadership role, but I'm, in the corner versus the no, no, no. I actually allow me to, collaborate, cross-pollinate
Yeah.
ideas and work with others. And so that to me, all of that is awesomeness, rad, and whatever other word you wish to use, my dear. I love it. That was beautiful. Okay. So tell me this. We all know that, failure and challenges is a natural part of the human condition and the human journey. Tell me, how have you, during moments of difficulty and friction, inflection points, you name it, what have you been able to do to navigate those time periods?
So people around me will often hear expect when times are tough and we're facing challenges or just even internal strife is like this is just a season, right? This is a season, and let's recognize it at that and define it as that, and know that we are stronger and we can get through this, especially if we do it together and we don't try to do it alone because leadership is lonely. So that's why building such a strong team is important so that when we're winning, we can have fun and celebrate. But when the times are tough, we can do it together and we know that we can get through it. Like every season passes, right? That's why I'll either call it a season or a chapter, but usually mostly a season because it passes. Seasons come and go, and like
That's
this
right.
is just, and let's just identify it as that and get through it.
I think that's just that is such a strong way to lead a team through difficulties. And I think Tony Robbins uses seasons as
Mm,
well, right? Where he'll say, hey, winter doesn't last forever.
right.
And he also says, hey, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you need to go with others,
Together,
right?
yeah. Hmm.
So, I think that's wonderful to be able to use just to say it's a seasonality. Hey, we're just
Yeah,
going through it. It's a season,
yeah,
and the season doesn't last forever. We'll get through this. I also love the hey, we're stronger than we know. We've been through
yeah,
worse. We'll get through this, right?
yeah. Like we can
I
do
love
hard things.
that.
Just this week, I was like, we can do. This is hard. Like we're working through one of our games that's been difficult. Like it is hard,
Mhm.
but we can do hard things. Like we've, and like and then let's make fun with let's gamify it. I mean, we gamify a lot of stuff here because that's what we do organically. Like, let's
Yeah,
make the hard stuff fun.
yeah, and I love the idea of I love the idea of diffusing a situation by saying, here, release the steam, right? Diffuse it by recognizing, yes, it's very hard, but we can do hard things, right?
Yep.
And hey, how do we make it a puzzle, right? That we're going to figure out, like, how do we make it a challenge? And then at the same time say, hey, we can fail as long as we fail forward, learn from it so nothing's wasted, and then just
Right.
move on. We are of the same ilk. I am 100% with you, Miss Holly. Okay.
Awesome.
So tell me, big life lessons.
Um, Self-awareness, I think it's key. I think it's critical looking in the mirror first, starting with you, right? As I've always said, like narcissistic people are like the most frightening people in the world to me because like they just don't have that ability to like,
Right.
okay, here's like what could I have done different and start with yourself and I oftentimes will ask people, different people that come and go in my life, like, what are my blind spots? Because I can't see, what do you think they are? Because I want to be self-aware of that and help others to see them. So yeah, self-awareness is critical.
It is critical, and uh, it's incredible. It requires a lot of grit and a lot of strength, right?
It's
To
humbling.
start, right? To start with yourself. But it's
Yeah.
also incredibly empowering to be able to say,
Hmm.
oh, okay, I can just work on that. Hey,
Right.
man, right? I think this is also something that all the women have in common who I've been speaking to for this series. And that is all of them um, share the life learning ethos, right? Like they are all life
Yeah.
learners, right? If you're not dead, you're not done yet. And all of them are, they're a work in progress, and they're allowed to be a work in progress. As
Yeah.
leaders, we need to be able to give ourselves license to be a work in progress, and then also give ourselves credit for how we're showing up in the world.
Right.
And yes, like if you
Yeah.
can look in the mirror and say, okay, this one little thing, hey, it's a development area. And there's a strength in owning your development areas. And it's a
Yeah.
great example for other people too,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, aha moments.
The right thing is almost always the hard thing to do.
Do you
Yeah.
want to elaborate?
I just think we've got difficult decisions or we're coming up against something that can be challenging and there's different options on the table. It's the right choice, the right option is almost the hard one. And it's not this isn't it's not, black and white 100%, but oftentimes I feel like when we're spinning on making a decision, it's because the right thing to do is going to be the hard path. um, and again, that can just go back of we can do hard things. This
Absolutely.
is a season. We'll create a plan. We'll do it together. And
Yeah,
but yeah, and I think that's oftentimes where teams or departments or companies can go wrong is if we want to take the easy path, we can, but we're not gonna grow that way, right? We're not gonna move the ball forward that way.
absolutely. I think Tim Ferriss described it as the easy path equals to a hard life,
Yeah.
right? And the
Yeah.
hard path equals, an easy life, meaning that you just feel so good afterwards because you did the right
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%. Okay, what do you know for sure? Like looking back at your experience and looking back at your life, just what can you say that I know this for sure.
For sure, it's we can only control what we control, and there's so much in life that we can't. So let's identify what we can't control and mitigate against that, and then be excellent in executing what we can control. And because it's just there's so much stuff that's out of our control, and it's easy if we can identify it and then risk mitigate it against it.
So
And I
true.
think I mean, this just was an example, honestly. 2 weeks ago at month end, we had like, we met on Monday, month end was on a Friday, and we had some risk with some international containers that is out of our control. We cannot, like, I hate when month end is on a Friday because, and
Yeah.
we live we work out in rural Wisconsin. So
Mhm.
Friday afternoons, a lot of times trucks just may like, we're done for the day. And we can't control that. So what are we going to do to control making sure that we hit hit our budget and
Yep.
be excellent at all the things that are within our power and understanding the difference. So
Absolutely. Understanding that difference and doing the best that you can.
yeah,
And I think, I'm with you 100% on uncertainty. There is so much that's uncertain. And here's the thing, it is part of the human condition, right? Period.
yeah,
And
yeah,
there's a single individual who can to say to you about anything, I'm 100% certain. No, right?
right,
But if you just control what you can control, and then know at the same time that no matter what happens, you're going to be able to navigate it. Um, there is a certainty that comes with that, right? We
yeah,
were able to say, hey, instead of waiting until Friday, maybe we can do this, or I'm with you 100
yeah.
percent.
Well, and then if we are excellent at what we can control and we fall short, we can sleep well that night knowing we did everything that we can. And we'll get it next time. We'll make it up next time, right? Like it's just
There
we
you
can
go.
feel good about that.
Absolutely. And life is too short to not feel good, right?
Right.
My dear, I can't thank you enough.
Oh,
Okay, I
thank
want to, I
you.
want to, I want to thank you so much, and I do want to share also on a closing note. Okay, that um, for me, an aha moment with you was when we were having a board meeting, right? And you were sharing that when you started, um, you would be happy if you had a check for 10K that you were giving to an organization, right? 10K is still 10K, but being able to write checks that are 250K to organizations, again, helping families in
Yeah,
need who are navigating the unimaginable, right? Having a child,
right.
imagine a 5-year-old with cancer,
Right.
right? And so being able to write those checks for those organizations and knowing that you led the work and the
Mhm.
teams that were able to get us to that point is incredibly meaningful. I mean, it's just, to me, it's like wow, right? And so I
Yeah.
just wanted to kind of mention that because I know you're not walking around telling people that.
Mhm.
And I think it would be lovely if the whole industry was able to say, that Holly, wow, what you've done with AMCF and all those organizations. I thank you, my dear. We owe
Well,
you
thank
a
you.
debt of gratitude
No, that is team effort for sure. And
under your
um,
leadership.
yeah, well, thank you. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Of course. Okay, of course. So anyway, happy International Women's Day.
Back at you. Take care, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you.